Hello nieces, hello nephews, it's your Uncle Charles here and welcome back to my YouTube channel where we do unbiased price action analysis. And SPY today managed to clear at the end of day a very critical level, the 1.618 Fibonacci extension level. All week I've been giving us, well, it's only Tuesday, so yesterday and today I've been giving us the levels to watch out for, okay? I mentioned the 438.5 level of support, the 440 level, the 441.5 level, and the 443.5 to 444 zone. Didn't quite get to it. We got to around 442.9-ish. Okay, and look where we hit. This is on my smaller time frame. I had a trend line here. Had a bunch of touches, and we got another touch today. Interesting. And I will tell you, level to level, trading unbiasedly, the false breakdown setups, many of the concepts that I talk to you guys about regularly on this channel, it definitely worked out. This green line right here was the 440 level that I mentioned to you guys. And what's the greatest trade setup of all time? The false breakdown setup. I always encourage you guys to trade with the traps. When you are a sheep style trader, you are a trading tactician. All right, and one of our setups or tactics that's under our tool belt, if you will, is the false breakdown setup. And we had it here. We broke down 440 at 10 o'clock candle, recaptured it on the 10:15 candle, and the rest is now history. And look at that, when we got the pullback, we hit 443.5. If you play this false breakdown, this is where you would have wanted to take profits and leave a runner with your stop loss break even somewhere down here. Okay, now when SPY was pulling back, a lot of people were getting bearish. A lot of bear bias traders, they're looking for anything, any pullback, to try to justify being bearish. Okay, but look what happened here. I wrote in my Discord, this is at 2:25 p.m. when the SPY was pulling back. It's very important. SPY possibly looking to backtest 440 as support. Remember, when we get a breakout, you like to see it retest as a support. That is not a reason to be bearish. A lot of people jump the gun and be bearish, and then they get screwed over. They're all either that, they're left with, enjoying crumbs instead of meals, if you will. So I wrote here, SPY was backtesting 440 to confirm the false breakdown setup from earlier, which I mentioned. If it tests and bounce or comes short of testing it as support, upside targets in play. And I've been writing all day what my upside targets were. Now, if it's broke down 440, I mentioned to look to short. Okay, we look to short when we get a false breakdown, a false breakout setup. When we clear a resistant and then it breaks back below that resistant level, failure to clear it, that's a false breakout setup. So the false breakdown works in reverse, where we break down the support and then recapture the support, and look at it, push all the way up. And I mentioned to the group here, if it come up short or if it bounces, and you guys can see it came up short, the strength of the selling pressure wasn't even strong enough to push it back down to support. When you see that, this is what I mean by watching the price action, is behaviors like this. Okay, these are the stuff that most traders do not pay attention to because they're biased, right? Or they're watching the news or whatever. Speaking of the news, we need to talk about CPI. But, I just want to give you guys this price action trading tactics and things to look out for, so you guys can add it to your own arsenals of tactics and skill set. All right. So, yeah, it came up short. It couldn't test the support level. So it was a weak pullback as our weak bearish pressure. And in the end of the day, we got the end of day rally. Okay. End of the day is the last, unless you're trading the end of the day and you got some experience, it's very tough to hold position at the end of the day, because we're either going to get a rug pull or an end of day rally squeeze or whatever. So be careful when you trade in power hour. It doesn't always live up to its name, but when it does, it can sting a lot of people and, get it when you least expect it. Okay, so as far as tomorrow goes, all right. As far as tomorrow goes, we have CPI at 8:30 a.m. As you guys know, this is not a fundamental channel, fundamental analysis. That's not what we do here. We do price action analysis. It's right there in my title for the video in capitalized letter. Okay. However, some days we really should still pay attention. And CPI is one of those days. Okay, now I'm not here to tell you guys the numbers for CPI. I'm here to tell you guys the numbers for the price action and how we're going to trade this. Now, I need to refer back to my Discord because this morning I did a little due diligence and checking what happened, what the behaviors were in the past CPI, okay? As you guys know, I always say the blueprint for CPI is watch out for the initial move. It's usually the fake one. Now, I'm not going to bring up any of the research I did this morning because I wrote it all down in my Discord, okay? It's a lot of work, but and yeah, I should have had it ready to show you guys, but I wrote it right here what happened. All right, I wrote in the last CPI day, that was June 23rd, SPY dropped $3 only to rally $4 end of day. That was the June 23rd CPI. Okay, the one before that on May 10th, SPY initially rallied $4 only to drop $6 end of day. And the one on April 12th, SPY initially rallied $4 only to reverse and drop $7. Now, if you guys want to do your own due diligence and fact check Uncle, please go back to those dates. June 23rd, May 10th, and April 12th. Those were CPI days, and look what happened on those days. They didn't match what Uncle said, okay? Now, I can't tell you what's going to happen 100% with 100% certainty, but the strong tendency that CPI day have is that almost every single one of them, specifically the ones I just mentioned, they all had reversals before the end of the day. So guess what? How are we going to trade CPI? By using the false breakdown or the false breakout setups, the top two greatest trade setups of all time for a price action trader, guys. Why? Because we are trading with the traps, and in order for you to trade with the traps, you gotta be unbiased. If you are biased, you're gonna get trapped. Market makers want you to be biased. You're falling into the trap. But if you're unbiased, you keep a level head, you stay balanced, sheep style, then it's going to be a little harder to manipulate you. All right? So watch out for the traps for CPI tomorrow. Uncle Charters will strictly play the false breakout, false breakdown setup. Okay? All I need, is one good level to level move and I'm happy. But on CPI days with the volatility, you'll probably get a little bit more than a level to level move. Now, with that being said, now that we know that CPI has a tendency to be reversal, we need to know the levels and the setup so we can catch those reversals. Okay, so from here, we cleared 441.5 today. That is support with 440, right? And you guys know I got that 438.5 and then 437, which is the 1.5 Fibonacci level. Okay, and let me see, for tomorrow, for the ascending triangle here, support is at 436.4. So I'll make it a zone. Critical support zone is 436.4 to 437 zone. All right. And below that, we could drop all the way down to 432.6. And the pink trend line all the way back from March 13th is at 431.5. Below that is my 61.8 fib level, all the way from all-time high down to October 2022 low is at 429.6. Okay, you guys got my support levels for the downside. Now for the upside, right now we have resistance at 443. Above that is the late June high, which is at 444.3. Okay, so first resistance 443 and then 444.3. Above that, I got resistant, the next fib level at 448, 450, and then another fib level at 451.7. Okay, please add these levels to your charts. If you don't know the levels, you're not going to know when we get the false breakout or the false breakdown. Above 444.3, please add 446. That's a previous pivot low from April 11. Please add 446 as a level to watch as well. Okay, guys? Now remember, Uncle's going to strictly trade the false breakout and the false breakdown setup. So remember what an example is. I'm using a 15-minute chart here. You guys can see on this candle, okay, 10 o'clock candle, we broke down 440. That means a close below 440, all right? And then on a later candle, it doesn't always have to be the very next candle, but it'll be a later candle where it closes back above 440. All right, I'm just using 440 as an example, but it could be any of the levels I gave you earlier or on your chart, okay? But it'll close back above 440. That is the trigger to enter longs or calls because that's a false breakdown setup. It closed back above 440. You want your stop loss below 440, where if it breaks back below it, you want to see it break back below it, not just wash below it, but break back below it, close below it. Then your trade is invalidated. The false breakdown is invalidated. This is an example of a false breakdown setup, guys. Okay, let me give you an example of a false breakout setup. So you guys see this pink line is my 441.5 level. You see in this candle, we cleared it, and it gave us a decent level-to-level move to the upside. It wasn't much of a move, but look what happened on a later candle. This is what I mean. It doesn't have to happen on the very next candle, but it'll be a later candle. And you guys can see this candle right here, July 7th candle, 12:30 candle, we cleared 441.5. Then a later candle, a couple of hours later, we closed back below 445, and it triggered a nice move to the downside. That is an example of a false breakout setup. These are the price action that you want to watch out for tomorrow on CPI, guys. Listen to me. The market makers will be looking to trick us out. Do not be biased. Do not let your bias and your ego cost you money. I am here. I am on your side. I'm here to support you. Okay? The market makers are the one plotting against you. Uncle Charters wake up every morning trying to figure out how I can put more money into other people's hands. That's how I wake up and I pray. And then I pray to God, say, God, how can I put more money in people's hands? Show me the way. I swear to you, okay? I'm not your enemy. Listen to me, take heed to my word. This is the blueprint to trading these day-to-days. FOMC, CPI, NFP, whatever, you name it. Okay, especially CPI, because a lot of people's watching CPI. We're talking inflation here for us consumers, our livelihoods. All right? All right. Let's move on to Triple Q before Uncle catch a stroke. Yeah, it managed to clear. I look at a 30-minute chart. It managed to clear 367 end of day. Now we gotta take it with a grain of salt. Usually I'd say that's bullish and swing calls or something. But with CPI tomorrow, very risky. Okay, so yeah, we recaptured 367. That keeps 369.5 in play. Our 78.6 Fibonacci level. Okay. And people who say Fibonacci levels are useless, they're not, that useless. I find them very useful. We had a penny-wise bounce from a 38.2 Fib level yesterday, and you can also use them for false breakouts and false breakdown setups. I think they're pretty useful. But yeah, as long as above 367, guys, I would stay bullish. Watch for the breakout of 369.5 to put 372 and 374 in play, with 376, 378, and 380 above that. $2 increments. Keep in mind, you check the delta for triple Qs in the money contract. They're pretty good. 45 cents or more. Don't sleep on these $2, $1 moves, all right? Don't sleep. Small consistency, base hits over home runs any day, in my opinion, okay? Consistency over home runs once in a while. That's just my opinion. Anyways, above 367, stay bullish with upper targets in play. Now, if we gap below it or break back below it, that is a false breakout setup, bearish. Watch for that breakdown of 365 and 363.4. Now, you see that pennywise bounce here, that very strong bounce that we had recently. If we break that down, we are likely heading to a new low, obviously, with 361 and 357.5 in play. All right? IWM definitely showed some follow through after clearing 187, and it got up to 190 today. Okay, if we can clear 190, 192.4, 194, and 196 in play with 199 above that. I can only get bearish if we get a false breakout setup, and we gotta break back below 187. If we do, look to short with 185.5, 183.3, 181.8, and 179.5 in play. Tesla is still lingering. Look at that. It's still lingering, guys. battling at my Fibonacci level. I mentioned this Fibonacci level in yesterday's video. It is my 78.6 Fib level. And look where we are bouncing. We are basing around there. It's not looking too strong. If it was strong, we get a big bounce by now. But right now, all we're getting is a bunch of dead cat bounce, guys. So as of right now, we got to get that close below it. This is a 4-hour chart. We haven't got to close below it. Just some washes below. I mean, this was a false breakout, false breakdown setup. You know, it led to, you know, a few dollar moves, but nothing that's looking bullish as of right now. As a matter of fact, it looks bearish. So watch for that move down. It's getting very weak. The buy orders around this level are getting absorbed. So if Tesla breaks down 368.5, it's a wrap for the bulls. Excuse me, 268.5, excuse me. If we break that down, it's a wrap for the bulls with 267 in play first. 265, we got a gap all the way down here at 261.7, and we may drop us even lower down to 254-ish. Okay, but bear case starts if we break down 268.5. I need to see 272 recaptured to put this white trend line at 275 in play. Above 275, I would be bull biased because we broke out this trend line. Put in 280, 284, and 286 in play. I think we get 286. Apple, holy moly, we got a little weak breakdown, but it's a breakdown and I must acknowledge it. 184.4 was my 1.236 fib level. We got to close below it. And that pink trend line is creeping up and it supports at 186. Can CPI be the catalyst to cause some disruption in this bull rally of Apple, okay? Because if it breaks down 186, guys, I'm telling you, it might be waterfall style, fall style. I don't know. We did have an exhaustion gap on Monday earlier this week. Was it Monday? Yeah, yesterday. You know, if we get another gap below it, that's a crazy breakaway exhaustion gap. Very bearish is what I'm trying to say below 186. All right? You want to get bearish? Let's see if it breaks down 186. Okay? You guys know me. I'm a sheep. I don't mind if it drops. I don't mind if it go up. I just want some tradable moves. And if Apple can drop and dump, it could cause so much volatility for the SPY. We can trade this. So below 186, look to short with 182.7, and we could probably drop down to 177. All right, but 180 in route first, of course. All right, look to long above 190 and 192, breaking out this white trend line, putting 194.5 and 196 in place. Still overall, still bullish above 186, but we got the big test coming up tomorrow. Let's see. Even Meta's looking a little bullish with a bullish closing above 298, but it like Apple, it's a pretty weak close, and we must take it with a grain of salt because of CPI tomorrow. But overall, I would be back to bearish below 293.4, putting lower targets in play. Okay, with 291. 288.5-ish and possibly all the way back down to 286. All right, we still need to stay above 298 to put 300 plus in play. Okay, below 293.5 bearish, above it stay bullish, but we need to see 298 clear to put upside targets in play. NVDA 1 hour chart here. Overall, you know, pretty much choppy days. If you played it level to level, you know, you got some decent moves when we broke down. We broke down 424, dropped as low as a 420-ish, bounced back up as high to 427.5. You know, very volatile stock. You know, you can't get too greedy with it. But it did close below my 424 level. That is a fib level that I have for NVDA. Can't get bullish unless that level recaptures. If it does, above 124, 424, bullish above 424 with 425.5, 428, 430, 432, 434 back in play. Bullish above 424. But if we are below it, bearish, like right now we're below it, it's bearish. We could be battling. But if we break down 422 and 420, that'll definitely be some good follow through. Definitely would like to see 418.5 break down as well. Put it 416.5 and 414.5 Fibonacci level back in play. Okay, 424 is my equilibrium level. Below it, bearish. Above it, bullish. Play it level to level, guys. No greed. Here is AMZN. We got a breakdown of this rising channel yesterday, but it managed to, recapture it somehow today. I will trust it more if it clears 130. Okay, long above 130 with 134 to 135.5 zone in play. I would be a lot more bearish below 127 with 124 and 120 in play. Keep in mind, we got a false breakdown setup, only canceled below 127. Bear buys below 127. Bull bias above 130. Here is the VIX. Well, not much has happened, okay? Levels are still the same. 15.5, 16.7, 17.7 are still resistant. We need above those to be bullish. And we need below 14 and 13.3 to be bearish. If we break down 12.6, new low incoming for the VIX, guys. Here is the dark pool at 439.55. Few cents away from my 440 level. Definitely keep your eyes on that zone. Bullish above it, bearish below it. Stay nimble, my friends. SPY filter for 500K premiums or above. I just want to look at the short term. Bullish for the short term. Got some big money coming in for the short term despite CPI tomorrow. QQQ bullish for the short term. IWM nothing for the short term. Tesla bullish for the short term. Apple nothing for the short term. NVDA nothing. What we got? Meta, Amazon, and VIX bearish for the short term. Okay, guys, thank you guys so much for watching. If you like, please consider joining my Discord, especially with CPI tomorrow. Allow Uncle Charters to serve you at a higher level. I'll be super grateful for it. Other than that, have a great evening. Peace.